thing that we're going to do for Linwood, the final thing, because I don't think there's anything else to be done except to remember. So, let me read you the little speech I put together last night. I have been pondering this ever since Sheila handed it to me and said, "You've got to be the one to do it." And I said, "You know what? Why don't you know?" Well, she knows me well. You know me. I was always up in front of the crowd. So, anyway, what I'd like to do is I'll just read this to you because I don't want to leave anything out. Welcome to all former faculty, staff, administrators, alumni, and guests. Linwood was the second of two schools to be built at Robins Air Force Base by the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. Yes, HEW. That's what it was when I came in 1967. All our books had HEW stamped inside. It later became Department of Defense. It opened its doors in 1965. That is hard to believe. To dependent children of the Air Force and other active duty military stationed at Robins Air Force Base. And the reason I added that is I had all kinds. I had Navy, I had Army, I had Marine, I had all kinds of children. Only they were, few, but they would be stationed here at Robins. So we have a lot of people here at Robins for one reason or another. And sometimes we have the children of foreign military people here who had been sent to Robins Air Force Base from a foreign country to be here for a few years to learn things. So we had their children. It was designed to ease the transition from segregated schools to a fully integrated educational system for the armed forces in the mid-60s. That's what I was told when I was hired. My first interview in here with Bob Ramsey. And he said, "I don't know how long this school is going to be here." He said, "You're going to sign your contract," and he said, "Next year this school may belong to the county." And every year, all of you that taught here realized that it was tentative. And so for 36 years or more, the schools were all said, "Hey, don't count on this job." But you know what? Some of us stuck with it because we loved it, and the school was an extremely special case. I do not know. I've only experienced a couple of other schools where the faculty and the children came together in the way that the Linwood and the Robins kids did. There was something really special, and I cannot tell you what it was, but it was special. Linwood served the military community from 1965 until 2001. And during that time, more than 20,000 dependent children walked these halls. That's a heck of a lot of kids. I know the first year or two I taught in this school, I had like 36 and 38 children in my one single classroom. And we had like 900, nearly 1,000 kids in this building. And when we had to do something in the cafeteria for everybody together, we were just wall-to-wall children. You probably remember that. Because it was full. But we loved it. It was not a problem. But Robins Air Force Base school system was innovative in its educational approaches. We did a lot of firsts, guys. We were the first in Georgia to do the DARE program. Then other schools started doing it. We did individualized reading. We did individualized math. We did all of these things because the schools were so progressive. It was unbelievable what we were able to do for our children over the years. It gave support to the students and their families when the military parents served overseas. And those of you that were here for the whole time, you know Vietnam, Desert Storm, and I'm probably leaving out a bunch of others. But there was a lot going on. And I can remember days children would be crying because their dad or their mom were sent overseas, or the husband or the wife of a faculty member was being sent overseas, and it was tough. But you know what? Because our school was built around the idea that we were going to help everybody through those emotional crises and still teach and still provide an education, we were able to do it. And I think that just drew us all together. I mean, from the custodial staff, right on up through the cafeteria staff, right through every person, the front desk, every secretary, every lunch lady, every person bought in. The thing about it, if you didn't buy in, you certainly didn't stay long, because 9 times out of 10 you weren't happy here. But everybody bought in because they cared and loved the children. And they wanted to make sure they had a good education. Today we honor the 36 years of exceptional education these children received. As you tour the newly renovated building, now newly named Earl Stevens, you will find a lot that is still familiar and much that has changed. I am thankful the building has remained a place for the education of children, because the last thing I would want to see this building do is either be torn down or just become something other than what it was meant to be. This has always been a hotbed of education. And I hope it'll continue that way, at least till after I die, so I don't have to see it. On behalf of all who worked in this building and all who attended school here, I want to thank the Houston County Board of Education and Dr. Amanda Brantley for allowing us this plaque in remembrance of all that occurred here. Now, I had forgotten, Cindy, I was supposed to allow you to do an invocation for us. Would you come and do that for us? And then we're going to hear from a former student from Linwood. This is Cindy O'Mara. She came, when did you come to Linwood?
I was here 21 years.
Yeah, well, we knew each other a long time.
Lord, I just thank you for this opportunity. First of all, praise you, you are God. And Lord, I think of the scripture, you began a good thing. And we know that it was just not the building, but it was you at work. We thank you for each of the military lives that were touched here, the children that were here, the opportunity we had to teach, Lord. You just gave us an opportunity that, Lord, we can't find it. So we know that placed each person. And I thank you for the continued work that Amanda's going to do with her staff, that she's continuing the ministry, that we know it's not the building, but it's you at work. And we thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Susan. And now to Neil. You were Weatherford when I had you. What is your married name?
Scroggins.
Okay, Scroggins. And she's going to speak from the student point of view.
Hi. Before I get started, I'm probably going to cry. I'm not going to lie to you. I was here the entire 6 years of my education. I'm elementary education. I'll never forget, I cried the first day at Rumble, 7th grade. My parents said, "How was your first day?" And I said, "I want to go back to Linwood." Because I felt like I had left a big support system. So I'll start my speech. I'll probably cry through it. I'm sorry. I've already started crying. And it's probably going to mirror, Mr. Hard and I didn't get together, but it's going to mirror exactly some of the same points he had, because Linwood was that special. Welcome, friends, family, faculty, staff, and alumni. It is my honor to represent the alumni of Linwood Elementary. As I read the plaque, the first words I noticed are military dependence. Military children's lives are much different than other children's lives. As military children, we share the same bond and understanding. We know how it feels to hug our parent tightly and watch as they board a plane traveling to a land thousands of miles away. The empty seat at the Thanksgiving table. The empty spot next to your parent in the stands as they watch you perform. The students that attended Linwood didn't have the luxuries the military children of today have. There was no Skype, email, or Facebook. You waited for weeks, that phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that letter to come in the mail with the APO address on it. Times at home weren't always easy. Sometimes we had to console a mother who was terrified that her husband wouldn't make it back. However, when we walked through these doors, we found security, love, and warmth. As a student, you not only bonded with your teachers, but the ladies in the cafeteria, the librarian, the custodians, and the office staff. It was at Linwood that I began to dream of being an educator, a dream that came true 15 years ago. thanks to the amazing role models I had through my early grades. Linwood has now changed names and dramatically changed its looks. However, Linwood is not a building, it's a family. It's memories that were made in this school and these halls. It's the lifelong friendships we will always cherish. And I want to thank you, the Houston County Board of Education, for recognizing our school. And thank you, Dr. Brantley, for allowing us to celebrate this special day.
I'll turn it over to you, and then I'm going to remind everybody, those that would like to, we're meeting at the Golden Corral at 12:30. We've got about 40 seats reserved, which I think might take care of everybody wants to. Pay as you go when you go in, and then we'll all meet back there and eat as long as you want to eat. Okay? And talk. Okay? Dr. Grant.
Thank you. It was very good to hear from the actual Linwood alumni. I'm not military, but just knowing the military tradition, I've been here all my life, and just the respect that I have for you guys, just to actually put a face to the people that were actually in the original building. I remember hearing a story about the superintendent being in the building and had an office. I'm like, that actually existed. That was totally cool. So I think Fred was showing me the hallway he was on. I'm like, how cool is that? But I'm glad you came today and we could finally recognize you. I know that when they named me the principal of Linwood, it was before we actually had to move out to C.P. Watson. And then when I was told I was coming back here, my goal was to make sure that we had a little bit of both schools. Pearl Stevens has a history being the first African-American educator here in Houston County, as well as Linwood having the military tradition and keeping that here. And so I hope you see a little bit of both worlds here at this school. I was able to steal a couple of things, like the Education Way sign. You can't see it because it's behind the glass case, but there's just some things in the building that I tried to save and rescue to represent you guys, and I hope you are able to see that today when you walk in. The Linwood has not changed, and to be quite honest with you, it's actually it's very powerful when you walk in the building when the staff and students are here. We have over 100 military students here in the building, but to have those schools together, it's almost, I've always used this analogy, almost like peanut butter and jelly. They go together, and that's really what this faculty has. I have over half of my staff is military. I have either their spouse or their father was in military, so the tradition is still here. But just keeping both schools together and making the new Pearl has been phenomenal. I would love for you to come back when there are kids here and actually see the teachers in the building. We would love to have you come, but take your time today. I'll be here a lot typing in my office, but after y'all eat, if y'all want to come back some more, that's not a problem. But welcome to the new Pearl Stevens, and thank you for coming back and being a part of our building still, and I will always remember this day. So thank you again for coming.
The plaque is on the inside of the door. When they asked where we would like to have it placed, I felt like that right here, when people first walk in, they see it. There's nothing that takes your attention anywhere else. You can see it and read it. And I feel like being one of the first things you see is a good way to remember all those students, faculty, staff, alumni. Okay, guys? Oh, and by the way, if you go in the cafeteria, that's where I met my wife. 40 years. Let's see, I came in '67, and Mr. Ramsey carried me in there, my superintendent, and she was working with, no, who's the other one? She was your roommate. Few lines. Margaret, anyway, okay, anyway, guys.
No, for Sheila to put this together, I thank her.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And to start it, I have two people that I had huge shoes to fill, and Ms. Ryerson came today. I filled her shoes, and even though they were little shoes that she wears. And Ms. Gillis, she was the first named principal of Linwood, and I'm so honored to have them both here today.